Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ego MMA channel. All of us, are currently 1 week away from Freedom 250, the White House card, one of the most hyped up cards, biggest disappointment, whatever you want to call it, whatever. I think it's a really good card. But, anyways, Topuria versus Gaethje, the number one main event. I think maybe not like the most exciting fight because of how one-sided it is, but this is definitely like the highest profile fight. There's a chance Topuria moves up to welterweight to fight Makhachev after this. Maybe fights Arman. Both very exciting. And to most people, this seems like a filler fight. And most people are picking Topuria. Just like I don't know, if you pick Gaethje, you're kind of trolling. But recently, there's been some pushback. There's been Gaethje might have a chance. Gaethje could probably do something. Gaethje this and Gaethje that, based off recent upsets, whether it be Strickland versus Khamzat or Yan versus Merab. Those are situations where people thought, the challenger didn't have a chance. Like I especially thought that for Yan versus Merab because I was like, there's no way he got 50-45. Merab's on a roll. There's no way he loses, right? Peter Yan has like the best performance in the history of UFC right there. There's obviously, of course, Gaethje can win, but it's just a different level. Like, please don't be fooled by when people say, like, Gaethje has a solid chance, or Gaethje is a dangerous matchup, or Gaethje is not the most dangerous matchup at lightweight. Gaethje's probably not even top three. I think Oliveira has a better chance of being Topuria than Gaethje, and we saw how that fight went. You know what I mean? And it's just like don't be fooled by like the propaganda that Gaethje has a fighting chance here. Anything outside of like head kick KO, like just don't even bother with it. All right, because the main thing is because Gaethje is not Peter Yan or Sean Strickland. There are a lot more nuances to their upsets than Gaethje's. Gaethje, we know who he is. There's not really many unknowns with the guy. Goes in, hits, gets hit. He's really good at striking, like underrated almost at striking. Good power, good volume, good leg kicks. We know that all that stuff. He's pretty much had a whole career. So much damage he took, but a lot of banger fights. Where someone like Peter Yan versus Merab, like Peter Yan was injured fighting Merab. He had a broken hand. And I'm not saying that's like a super big excuse, but going into the second fight, like thinking back on it, like it really makes sense that he was injured in their first fight because like he did so much better in the second fight. Was literally popping Merab with kicks, with punches, grappling was better. That would make sense, you know. For Sean Strickland, it's like this one was honestly a lot more surprising, but it was pretty clear that he was definitely the hardest matchup at middleweight for Khamzat. It's not like Imavov really had a chance. We already saw him with Dricus. Like other than what like people were hyping up Hernandez, well, Sean Strickland took him out easy. I think before the Hernandez fight, it was like there's no way Sean is gonna beat Khamzat, but like honestly, after that fight, like even though he was a big underdog, it was like if Sean fights a perfect fight, he could beat Khamzat, and that's pretty much what he did. He pretty much fought a perfect fight. He was going to beat Khamzat using the best of his abilities. Justin, if he fights a perfect fight, he still gets knocked out in 3. There's no for all his fights. There's like nothing you could really see where it's like that's like if he does this, if he control like if Sean distance pretty much controlled distance very well, jabbing, was able to defend takedowns. That's we've seen Sean do that before. He did it perfectly against Khamzat. He won. Peter Yan was able to. Peter Yan, in my opinion, is like the definition of a perfect mixed martial artist. He does everything. He does everything very good. He's elite. He mixes it up. It's in the name. And he mixed it up on Merab. Like he used that first round to download some data a little bit. Probably still edged it out. And then after that, it was just like Merab had no direction, no idea almost, because he was gonna get either chomped to bits by the leg kicks. He goes in for a takedown. Peter Yan defends it. Peter Yan gets his own takedowns. Like we know how good Peter Yan is. He proved how good he is. He's able to go toe to toe with Sean in the striking, demolish people like Sandhagen. We know his striking is up there, definitely like up there. Merab better than Merab before coming to the fight, and then during the fight he obviously proved how much better he was. But for Gaethje, there's nothing like that behind it, other than that he does have farmer. He has some sort of like inbred power. He has, sorry, but you know what I mean, man. Those type of guys. Something's a little bit going up with their gene structure, and they can hit people really hard. He hasn't got a knockout in 6 years. You know what I mean? Like, or he's got like one. He knocked out like old Poirier. Like, you know what I mean? He doesn't he doesn't really have the power anymore. His striking was looking good against Patty, but like Patty's an absolute blockhead. Like look at like absolute blockhead. Like I don't think that Patty fight should put much into perspective. But he did defend some of Patty's takedowns. But like the main like Gaethje fighting Topuria is nowhere near the level of Jan fighting Marab and Sean fighting Kamsa. We know how elite those other two guys were. Gaethje, we just know he's really good. He's not. There's no. I don't. The main like. There's just no reason I see where people are picking Gaethje, other than just like for fun or because they like him or their favorite fighter, which is all good and that's amazing. But it's just like everything else, where it's like picking Gaethje to win or some sort of game plan or like a way for him. If he fights a perfect fight, even like he shouldn't win that. If Sean Strickland fights a perfect fight against Kamzat, of course he wins. If Peter fights a perfect fight against Murat, of course he wins. For Gaethje, a perfect fight, like what's his striking gonna be like? He's just gonna get caught eventually. Like what I mean by perfect fight, I don't mean like they do everything perfectly. I mean like to like their abilities is like the best they could do. There's no like wrestling. Like I don't like he's a D1 wrestler but barely does it. There's like I don't see a path for victory for Gaethje other than fluke and people kind of getting influenced by other fights to pick this huge underdog. It just doesn't. To me, it's just like propaganda. It's just like people just like rage baiting to kind of stir up the pot a little bit. But like we already know how this fight's gonna go. It'll still be a fun fight no matter how long it lasts because it's probably gonna be a crazy knockout either way. And it'll be on the White House lawn. But anyways, me, you, pretty much everyone pulling up to that, right? A ticket shouldn't be that much, right? Anyways, I just hope you enjoy. If you have anything other to say, please say it. But I just don't see how Gaethje is winning this at all. Compare, like people really giving this guy a chance, other than like fluke. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think it should make sense to anybody else. And hope you have a nice rest of your day.